You're listening to TJ's One of Us for the Always Next Year Podcast Studio Network. You can find the team on our Twitter at ANY Podcast. You can also find us on our website, www.alwaysnextyearpodcast.com. And now, to bring us in, the Jackdaws.
A fighting man I used to be, revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back, hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever fight me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and such over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son still had me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.
All right, we're back. The TJ's One of Us podcast. We've got Andrew on the line here, and we're happy because the Sixers just came back last night and took out the Knicks in a game that shouldn't have been close, but it was. But it's okay because a win's a win. And also, the Celtics lost to the Clippers last night. So these are two happy Sixers fans right here. Andrew, how's it going?
Pretty good. It was a little slow to the week, but it's all good now, and it's going pretty well, especially after that game last night, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. It made me a little nervous looking into the score in the third quarter. I was kind of back and forth and watching the game, and weirdly, though, I never had a doubt that we were going to win it. I know it's easy to Monday morning quarterback that one and say it, but I just felt kind of okay about it. I think the Knicks suck so bad that I knew they were going to blow it.
I did get a little worried when it hit, I think it was 17 or 18, I think was the max out, but when Simmons had that dunk and he kind of like fell over a little bit, that's just like, you could tell how much that like, I don't know if he was mad at something the Knicks did on that play or whatnot, but like you could see like his eyes kind of like just light up and like you knew he was about to just turn it on offensively and defensively.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed in the game too was Julius Randle. Julius Randle's good and he's really annoying. And one of the main reasons he annoys the crap out of me is because I remember in the Jahlil Okafor draft, I really wanted the Sixers to draft Julius Randle. Now, he had hurt his leg, and his mom put out a false press release. I'm pretty sure this is fact now. I think it's all been proven because she didn't want him to be drafted by some of the earlier teams in the draft. She wanted him to get drafted by the Lakers. And sure enough, he gets drafted by the Lakers. He goes there. He kind of sucked and then, started getting good last year. And now he's in the Knicks, and we have to deal with him and be annoyed by him. So I'm not happy about that, but he did look good last night.
Yeah, I remember I was the same way. I wanted him too, and I don't think it might have been the same draft class, but him and Jabari Parker was another guy I wanted. It was weird. Like those were two guys I feel like were similar players, and like I just thought they'd fit our team so well.
Yeah, I agree. Jabari Parker was a good one as well. What's he doing right now? Do you know off the top of your head?
I know he kept getting hurt, and I don't know. I know he signed somewhere this offseason. I'm blanking on where it was. But I just, the injury bug has killed his career. He's with the Hawks now.
He's on the Hawks now. Okay, I was going to say the Hawks or the Bulls. I knew it was one of them. Yeah, I mean, he was good in Milwaukee when he was there for a little bit. And imagine how good they'd be now. I mean, if he was still on the team, he just couldn't hold it together injury-wise, which is a shame because he had an incredible college career. I mean, I think he was the number one prospect coming into college, and he had a huge selection day show on ESPN, and he performed well at Duke and came out early, and a huge amount of hype behind him. And yeah, I wouldn't say he's fallen off. I definitely wouldn't say he's draft bust or anything, but he's just kind of been quiet, which is a shame. But hey, we'd invite him back. Come on to the Sixers, Jabari Parker. We'll take you.
Deadline acquisition.
Yeah, there you go. That might be our next move. I don't think it works out contract-wise, but fuck it. We'll figure it out. We've got numbers nerds. They'll do it. All right, well, let's stay on this Knicks game a little bit more and just talk about some of the, highlights, lowlights, because they were definitely a good mix of both. I mean, obviously the number one thing we all need to talk about is Ben Simmons drilling his three. You were actually telling me a pretty funny story beforehand. We were talking about how both of us watching stuff on streaming services because we're cord cutters or whatever. you tend to get updates from other apps or from other friends and stuff before things actually happen on TV. So we all had the Ben Simmons 3 ruined for us, which is, it kind of sucks a little bit, but it's okay. I think I watched it 10, 15 times after it happened. So I was tipped off to that, stopped whatever I was doing, and ensured that, I needed to watch Ben Simmons drain his 3 and a giant smile on my face the whole time. So, Andrew, do you think Ben Simmons is going to start shooting now, or do you think this was a one-time flash in the pan thing?
I was on beforehand, or like as we were previewing the season. I thought he was going to shoot a lot more this season, and obviously he hasn't been. And yesterday was his first one. And unfortunately, I don't think I am very happy it finally happened, but I don't think it's going to start him to be a consistent shooter. I think hopefully maybe we start to see like one a week or something, but like I really would like to see one a game. I think like anyone else would. Like not make, just like attempt it once a game. And but unfortunately it just doesn't. I don't think it's going to happen that way.
I don't think it will either, and I'm still okay with that. One of the things that a buddy of mine pointed out today was as soon as he made that 3, everyone was face guarding him a little more. So it gives him a chance to, to get quicker off the dribble and to drive more. While I think he might have been exaggerating a little bit with that take, I would like to see him shoot a little more so there is that threat that he can shoot if you're going to leave him open. But I think, honestly, the reason if the Knicks were really doing that is because they don't want to be the guy that Ben Simmons drains a 3 over. I mean, how embarrassing can that be? He's literally never made a 3 before, so you're going to be on every highlight reel of the Sixers for his entire career now because we're never going to stop talking about this.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not asking him to like take very bad contested 3s, but like on that play when like I think it was it Furkan that passed it to him. I think like when he hits him in the corner like that and he's that wide open. Like, just you got to shoot it every time when you're that open.
Yeah, I agree. I think 2 of us drain that 370% of the time. Like, it should be a no-brainer. If you're in the NBA, you take that shot. I don't want him hesitating. He has looked awesome since the injury, though. I will give that to him. So I think it might have been a confidence thing that he had going on there because it looked in the beginning of the year. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about it. His mental state looks a little bit off. He switched from wearing that terrible undershirt to just a wrap thing on his arm now. So, like, maybe that played into it as well. I don't know. But whatever he's been doing, he's been looking pretty good, in my opinion, which is important. I mean, we're just a different team when he doesn't play well, and we're just not on that elite level without him. So we just need him to be this good. I mean, yeah, keep it up, Ben. Keep shooting 3s. I mean, he played 42 minutes last night against the Knicks, which is crazy stat, but he's young. He'll be okay. I mean, we got Jay Rich on the bench right now, so we do need Ben Simmons to provide a little more. But, yeah, so, I mean, good for him.
That's what I wonder, like, if these last few games or whatever, and the games he was hurt, like, if that changes any of the Simmons, like, haters' perspective of it, because, like the games he was out and just what you saw last night, whether he's shooting, like I know some fans want him to shoot like Embiid does and shoot 3 or 4 a game, but like even when he's not, like even when he's only shooting 0 to 1, but like I think these last few games have really shown how much he means to the team. And I really wonder if it's changed any of the Simmons haters' perspectives. And I know none of us are, but that's why I'm curious if like I actually got to like talk to one, like a serious person against Simmons, like if anything has changed recently.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I might have to start posing that a little bit more to some people I know that don't support Ben Simmons the way we all do. I think we're never going to lose those haters, though. I think he's been in the league too long and had the same stigma. The only thing that he could do to make people hate him less would be to just develop a consistent jump shot, which I don't think he's going to do, nor do we need him to do. I think he just has that stigma. I mean, everyone in Boston says he stinks. It's just like a huge thing. I don't know if you listen to Bill Simmons at all, but Bill Simmons talks about all the time how there's a chemistry problem between him and Joel Embiid, which is just clearly not the case. The only thing that ever really bothers me about that is people who say we need to trade Ben Simmons. I just don't agree with that. When you trade that kind of talent, you never get anything good in return. He's a giant contract now. He's locked in. He's part of the future of the team. That's the only thing that really like grinds my gears, and I have to like actually speak out against people. The jump shot hate I can take.
Yeah, I agree with that. I never understood like how you would want to trade a guy like that. Like it's completely different than trading a guy like Jimmy Butler, just because like you could find a Jimmy Butler somewhere, but like the talent Ben Simmons has is just to the next level, and you can't just find that in any draft class. But like, and I think that's what people don't understand, and it's a shame because like it's a shame when people don't realize when you find, like, we've been waiting for this kind of star for how long, and you finally have it, and you're not gonna see it just because you want one part of his game to elevate to the next level, even though he's carrying the team, like he's pushing the team to the next level.
I agree. I mean, do you know when the last time there was someone who had the kind of talent that Ben Simmons did, and the same body type in the same game? It was Magic Johnson, and there's literally only been one Magic Johnson before him ever. I feel comfortable in saying that we can compare the two of them a little bit. I think just body types, game style, the only thing Magic Johnson had a little bit more heart than I would say Ben Simmons does, and by that I just mean in his outward emotion. We don't need Ben to have that. It's not him, and I don't want him to be someone he's not. But you don't trade a legendary talent like that away. Philadelphia is just it's a city that has a history of having players that are great in times when teams are not, and you don't make a name by trading those talents away. I would just be firmly against it. That might be something that if they traded someone like Ben Simmons, that might be something that would get me to take a break from the Sixers for like a year. And I love the Sixers basketball. I watch every single game. So please don't do that. That would hurt me, Sixers. All right, so let's talk about our boy Tobias Harris a little bit. Something I didn't realize the last time I had you on, we were talking about how I wanted him to shoot more and have a game where he puts up like a crazy amount of threes. So one of the things I didn't realize as I was saying that is, I think after what game were we last talking about? Was that the Magic game by chance?
We were talking about because we talked about the close Cavs win and then the Magic loss.
Yeah. So he had missed like 7 or 8 threes or something in the Cavs win, which I had overlooked in the stat sheet somehow. He literally went 0 for 7 or 0 for 8. Then something, he'd gone like 0 for 2 in the Magic game or something like that, and I gave him a bunch of shit for not shooting. Then he went like 1 for 5 again the next game. Like, he has been on a slump to end all slumps. Do you think we need to be worried about this yet?
I want to say no, and the reason why I say no is because some things, it's just weird. Like, some players, it takes them a little time to find a groove, especially when you get a lot of new players, and I know it shouldn't really affect the way he shoots and stuff, but like, I just think in the sense of it all impacts it, because like, guys are trying to learn who wants this type of shot, who wants that type of shot. And I think with the rotations they're still trying to get used to, and you've had so many guys, not necessarily him because I don't think he's missed a game yet, but you've had so many players. I mean, you've had Embiid miss games, Simmons miss games, Horford, he had a rest game, and now he had Richardson out. I think it's hard on some guys more than other players when they can't find that like legitimate role to fall in place to. And I think he's one of those guys that he needs that role, and I think once the season gets going more, I think they get to play with each other more. And I think when he starts finding that the role he has in this team, I think you're going to see him start to click more. Because the last thing about it would be, it's not affecting his confidence anywhere else. Like, he might be struggling from 3, but when he struggles from 3, I think in that Cavs game, like when he went 0 for whatever, he was still willing at the end of the game to take that shot at the foul line and get back-to-back big shots around the foul line or the elbow area, put us back back within 1, and then he was willing to pass up that shot and give it to Embiid for the dunk to win the game. So he's still making good IQ plays, which if it was affecting his the IQ of his game, I think that's when you start to worry.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everyone goes through slumps a little bit, so I guess I'm overreacting as I typically do. I mean, that's just kind of just been my life as a Philadelphia fan. But yeah, I think he is still playing okay. The only thing that alarms me is if you look at his contract, he's making over $30 million. Might not be this year, but I think next year it locks in. So we're paying him a lot of money to be a role player right now. And I'm not so against that if he comes back and can shoot a little bit and add that to the table, because we desperately need a shooter. I will have a problem if he ends up just being a role player who's, playing good defense, passing the ball around, and, making smart plays. That's not enough for me for someone to make $30 million, because we can't trade him for anything. If he doesn't fit in our team, then we're just fucked. Like, you can't just give that contract away to anyone. So I need him to step up a little bit. I mean, not immediately, but, I need him to find that role that you had mentioned. I'm starting to get a little worried about it, but all right, you talked me up the ledge a little bit here. I'll give Tobias Harris a little more time.
I just say it's only 14 games? Yeah, we're 9-5, so we're 14 games in. I think he's still got a long season. It'll come together. And again, if it starts affecting his all-around game, that's when I'll really start to worry. But the fact that he's still he's still averaging 17 points, 7 plus rebounds, and 3 assists, so he's still got that all-around type game, and I think that the fact that he's able to push behind it, it's going to come together a little bit. And I know that this is where it does get concerning, but he's only shooting 26% from 3, but the fact he's shooting that poor and still getting 17 points a game, just imagine if he can just start shooting and just get to a little closer to 30, if not 30% from 3. I think it'll click. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll give him a little more time. I mean, I hope he clicks. We need him to if we're going to go on a deep run. When you had said shooting percentage right there, or his shooting percentage and numbers, something sparked in my head. Have you noticed how poorly we've been shooting from the free throw line lately?
Honestly, I've not paid attention to that number. And now that you bring it up, I can picture us missing all of them, but I've never paid attention to the actual number.
So I usually don't pay attention to that number either, because I assume they're in the NBA, they're professional athletes. They should be able to make free throws. I mean, if intramural basketball players are expected to make free throws, guys who make $30+ million a year should certainly be making their free throws. So I'm looking at the numbers from this Knicks game here. They made 69% from the stripe. The Knicks only made 73%, so not much better. But more importantly, we had 26 free throws in that game. So I think we pulled it together. I think they were driving a little bit more near the end of the game. Because not only are we not shooting well from the stripe, we're not getting to the stripe, which is a huge problem for me. If we're not going to shoot threes, we need to figure out another way to score points. And the free throw line is the perfect place to do it. If I was Brett Brown, I would have every single player shooting 100 free throws every single day. And if they don't make 70% of them, they're not allowed to leave the gym until they do. I can't. To me, there is no excuse for them to shoot this poorly from the free throw line.
Yeah, especially like you said, when you're struggling shooting wise, you gotta find other ways to score, and one of those ways to score is you gotta be able to drive to the basket and draw the foul, and you gotta be ready to make foul shots. And as you said, 18 for 26 in this game, which is not that good, and you see guys like Embiid, I love Embiid shooting. He can shoot and stuff, but part of his game as well, where he gets a lot of his points, is from the foul line. And I don't know what he is on the year, but he was 8 for 12 last night. So if he's going to be getting to the line as much as he wants to get and usually gets to, you can't be missing 4 or 5 foul shots a night, because that's just too many. You're giving away way too many points in that case. And then other guys just have to, and we saw it yesterday, Simmons got pretty aggressive, but other guys just got to get more aggressive. We mentioned last time when Simmons had 0 foul shots, but last night Al Horford had 0. When you're big, you should accidentally get fouled on a putback.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Al Horford's the one guy I'll never complain about. I'll go on record saying that now. I feel like he's too much of a father figure, so I need to respect my elders, and I can't yell at him for anything. Just let him do what he wants. The rest of the team, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers; they're all below 70% over the last 3 games, which is not good for from the free throw line as a team. Really not good.
And I'm just like, especially with the way like we mentioned, I remember talking about the refs about a week ago in our last podcast, but like the way the game's called, and so like they call like so many touch fouls now, like a lot of these guys just have to be willing to drive to the lane and get fouled, and I don't know who's gonna be to step up and do that, but like I wonder, you already mentioned it, but like I wonder out of those 26 foul shots last night, how many you can take away from like the intentional fouls at the end where we had to seal the game. Because like I know Matisse went there, had 2. I think Trey Burke had another 2. So that's 4 right there you can take away. I'm sure there's a few more. So like, and then there was the Morris got that flagrant. So that's another one. I mean, so that's the one area I think I am a little concerned with this team is the lack of aggressiveness.
Yeah, I agree. If we can pick apart, 6 to 8 shot free throws that were just given to them, and the numbers falling below 20. I mean, we'd be at 18 at that point. That's definitely not a good sign. What do you think of Morris last night and that aggressive foul and him and Embiid getting teed up? Just what do you think of him on that move? What do you think of him in general?
I think that's the way he's always been, and I don't think it's ever going to change. I think he scores when he wants. He's a weird player. He scores when he wants to. I don't know how to like overly feel about him, but like when he's willing to put it all out there, he's a good player. But I thought he overreacted yesterday, honestly. I guess they did get a little tangled up there, and I'm sure it is Embiid, so I'm sure Embiid was probably chirping with back. They were chirping back and forth a little bit. So I don't know if something was said or whatnot, but I thought it was a very odd aggressive foul up there, and I thought it was a very weird reaction on him because you see that play happen almost every night.
Yeah, I
agree. In terms of like the way it bounces off the rebound type of thing.
Yeah, I thought it was just a weird situation. I mean, there's been so much of that happening this year to the Sixers, so I didn't even bat an eye at it anymore. Especially, I mean, Marcus Morris, I had to double check and make sure that he was Marcus and not the other one. But Marcus Morris has always been this kind of player. And the Knicks are literally full of this exact player. Guys between 6'7" to 6'10" to play hard down low. They don't really shoot that well. They don't shoot that poorly. They're going to come out every once in a while and drop 30 points and have a great game and then fall back into just, irrelevancy. Like, I always think, though, that Marcus Morris plays better against the Sixers. I don't know why. I think he plays incredible against us. He's in that field of just Baines always plays great against us. Marcus Morris, like I mentioned there, I feel like there's got to be a couple other guys, and I'm sure I'll remember it as the year goes on. But he just always seems to kill us. He had how many points did he have? He had 22 points. Like,
I think part of that is just, I mean, you can correct me if you disagree, but I think some of these guys with the way Embiid talks so much, I think he gives them that energy that extra lift to go off, which I think that's the part where sometimes trash talking like that is the downside.
Yeah, I actually don't even know if it's a downside. I mean, Embiid definitely does it on purpose, and I think he's one of the best in the league at it. So if he can get someone off their game, I think I'm always okay with that. I like when our team is scrappy. I like when they're, getting into fights together a little bit. Obviously I don't like them getting suspended and stuff and doing things, when not provoked, but I have no problem with them standing up for themselves and glaring at each other. And that was one of the times that Embiid needed to do it a little bit. Was it his fault? Probably. I don't blame him. He might have said something about Marcus Morris's mother or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I agree. I just think some players, like you said, it kind of it affects them in that way where it helps them get the advantage. And then in some players, like extremely tough guys like Morris, like he's not afraid of that trash talk because he's willing to give it back. So he's willing to push it right back at Embiid, and it kind of lifts him to that level. Is what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Before the year, I mean, I don't know if you listened to the Low podcast interview with Joel Embiid, where he came out and said he doesn't talk shit anymore. He's a grown up player now, and Embiid's been getting in more fights this year than ever. So I love how bullshit that was. I hope he stays the same. Never change Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I'm curious if anyone bought into that because like I kind of felt like when it was said, it was like, okay, Embiid, it's still you. I have a hard time believing you're gonna stop all that talking.
Yeah, seriously, don't ever stop, please. I love when he's scrappy. One of the other things, actually, I guess this is a very late stat correction. Do you remember? It was one of the first times I had you on. Actually, we were talking about that exact interview before the year, and we had said that people were overblowing a joke that Joel Embiid was making about liking the Packers. That was actually true. He likes the Packers and likes Aaron Rodgers. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. I thought that was very funny when how real that was. Because like I said, I was off. I thought it was like just a complete joke and stuff, but no, yeah, it's which I mean, I have no problem with him liking the Packers. It's not like he's supporting some rival.
In fact, I've thought through this a couple times, and I had to think through it with the Mike Scott thing, and the whole Redskins debacle, and the fact that he likes another team than the Eagles and stuff. I actually think I like it better when our guys who weren't born here like a team from a different city. I don't like someone that's going to change their allegiance. It makes you think that they're just willing to leave and leave the city and abandon us at the drop of a dime. If Joel Embiid likes the soccer team, I think he's a Man United guy or whatever, and Mike Scott likes the Redskins. I don't want them to change. I don't need them to be Eagles fans. Obviously don't say anything antagonistic against their team and, always jokingly talk shit, but I'm okay with them having their favorite teams be in other cities. That's more than fine to me. As long as they like the Sixers, all else is cool.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, as long as you're not wearing another NBA team's hat, like I'm fine with it. Like, good for you for sticking up and not worrying about what's. I mean, I think to some degree you probably will still support the team, the city you are in. But like when your teams clash, like cheer for wherever you're from, cheer for whoever you've been cheering for. And I think that is one of the things a lot of fans overreact to, just because they feel like, oh, he plays for the Sixers, so he has to be an Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, etc. fan. But in reality, like if you put yourself in his shoes, just because you move to another city and get a different job, you're not gonna necessarily just change and like that team. I mean, you're gonna like wherever you started and started cheering for, so they should have the right to as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have asked me if I've switched over to liking the Lakers now since I moved out to California, or if I like the Angels now, and the answer is always going to be no. I hate teams out here. I hate the Lakers just as much as I did when I was in Philadelphia, and I expect the same from our players here. All right.
Hey,
go ahead. Sorry.
The one I never forget was, I think it escalated because he wasn't really well liked outside, but like when Dominic Brown showed his support for the Cowboys, because I think he was from the Dallas area, I'll never forget. He got ripped on like crazy, and it was probably because he wasn't well liked outside, like even when he was on the Phillies, just because he wasn't the best player. But like every day you just hear something about it.
I saw probably Dom Brown hit more than any Philly in recent memory, because I used to live in Bethlehem, which is right near Allentown, which is where the Iron Pigs play. I probably saw Dom Brown, no joke, 20 to 30 times when he was hitting 4 for the Iron Pigs and still hitting like 200 in the minor leagues. So I just have a special amount of hate for Dom Brown, because he was the guy that he made it to the majors when I was younger. I was like, oh, he's my guy. I'm gonna like him. He's gonna be my new favorite Philly. And he just let me down so hard. I just had to eat so much shit for that. To Dom Brown, if I see you, please don't say hi to me. I can't do it. I forgot he existed until this very moment.
I apologize for bringing back those memories.
It's all right, but let's get into something fun here and talk about. So last we left you were at that Thunder game when the Sixers sadly lost in overtime. But I need to hear about this atmosphere here, because I've heard crazy things about the Thunder.
It's that stadium. I will say I don't know how much it seats, but it's probably a lot or a good amount less than the Sixers seat. Probably just being in a smaller area or whatever. But the atmosphere is insane. Like, I will give them credit. I mean, obviously Thunder, they don't have much expectations this year, but like that place was packed, and I don't know, maybe it's because like, I mean, same thing when the Sixers were kind of going through struggles. When the better teams came, the stadium got filled up a little more. But I mean, they just find a way. I saw a few Sixers fans, but like they find a way to fill that stadium with their own fans, and it's incredible. And the atmosphere, it's crazy to think about from like a small city in like Oklahoma City, not that small, but like compared to other big NBA cities, it's smaller. But like to think about the atmosphere, it's insane because it's like a playoff game in November for a team that's not expected to go anywhere, and there's some fans on their feet from tip off to the end of the game, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I've been in Oklahoma City for like 20 hours total in my life. And one of the things that amazed me was how small town it felt, even though it's a city. So I'm not surprised to hear that kind of just atmosphere there, because from that kind of environment, you usually do get diehard fans. And I love that. It's a team that was, taken from Seattle and brought into Oklahoma City, and the city just like adopted them and loves everything about Thunder basketball. And I'm here for that. Like, I love a team that, they're or a city that just stands with their team. They don't care about if they're going to win or not. They're just there. And plus they have Steven Adams, who's still just awesome. So I hope that people get up in the crowd for him, because I don't know why, but I like Steven Adams a lot. He's just such a stoic, like crazy ass player. So good. I'm glad to hear it was that crazy atmosphere. What's your plan aside from trying to become best friends with Joel Embiid, which I'm just going to assume you are at this point, that you guys text regularly now. But aside from that, what's your like thoughts on getting to the game? You try to get there early, grab something to eat, or are you just like right to the seat, locked in on the game? Like what's going on there?
Okay, so I'm personally a big like autograph collector, and I love getting into that, and I like meeting all those guys like that and stuff. So, and I was taking my brother for his birthday because he's a freshman at Oklahoma State. So we go down, and the one thing I will say they need to work on is parking, because it was very hard to find parking. They need more signs up. I will say that. So our plan was we got there pretty early, and after struggling to park a little bit, we finally got in the stadium, and we got there super early. It was solid. It was probably an hour and a half before the game, right as the gates opened. And like I said, our seats were by the tunnel, so that was immediately where we went. And it was a very cool experience to have it all happen. And the team, I don't know if it's because it's a road game, and I haven't been to a Sixers game yet, like this year or whatever, but at home. But I don't like, the team was so nice, and I don't know the last time like I felt like a team was really that nice to the city in terms of being at the game. And it brought a whole new experience to the game, which was really cool.
That is cool. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you guys.
I don't know if you saw. I put some pictures on Twitter, but like, as the guys are running out to warm up, I guess they didn't really do it so much when they warmed up, because like they do that quick warm up first and then run back in and then come out as a team. So when they got done their own warm ups or whatever, when they start going back to the tunnel, almost every player outside of Embiid, I think every single player stopped on the way back and either signed for like pretty much every Sixers fan that was at the tunnel. They were willing to take pictures with everybody, and it just adds so much to it, and it was really cool. So yeah, like Mike Scott took a picture with me, and I got a picture with Furkan, and it was a really cool experience.
Did you say anything to Furkan about the yellow shoes, or did you not?
I didn't even think of it, because believe it or not, he actually, I don't know if he wore them for the game, but he didn't have them on at warm up, so it didn't even cross my mind.
No way. He changes his shoes after warm ups. He puts the yellow ones on. I hate that so much. God
right?
damn it.
Because he ran back in, and I didn't even think of it now that you brought that up. But like, yeah, he had I don't remember what he was wearing, but it was not the bright yellow shoes he usually wears, because I would have taken note. But
yeah, I would imagine at that point, if you have the selfie lined up, you just pull down to the shoes, because that's all you really want. Everyone knows who that is. Like,
right?
yeah.
But at least Harris stopped wearing them.
Yeah, that's true. Harris did. So we need our boy to do whatever he can to get back into shooting in a good clip here. Got to see some free basketball that night too, huh?
Oh, yeah, and then on top of that, the game was, I mean, obviously it went the wrong way, but the game itself was a tremendous game as well.
Yeah,
And as far as you mentioned Steven Adams, I love Steven Adams too, and being able to see like him and Embiid go at it live, like that was such a cool matchup to see because you don't that's a game where you don't see nowadays in the NBA is like living in like down low with the two big guys, and it was very cool.
yeah, it is. So actually, we were talking a little bit about being in another city, and obviously our team's the Sixers here, right? That's never going to change. But the Thunder, we don't really have a rivalry or anything with them. So have you adopted them a little bit as like a second team?
I wouldn't say like I kind of got him as a second team, but I will say like I always check. I'm not like a high score checker with them, but I will like in the playoffs the last few years, I was always like, well, I always wanted them to see them get to the next round, especially having a lot of friends be Thunder fans, so it kind of be cool. I was kind of always hoping for like that we'd both get to the finals and I could like have a fun matchup with my friends and stuff. So I will say, yeah, it's grown a little bit for him, but I'm not like a hardcore fan or anything.
Okay. Yeah, but one of the things that I've kind of noticed is not because I go to a ton of Angels games out here. Angels fans are super fair weather. Basically, they show up in the third inning and leave in the sixth inning, and hang out in the outfield and grab a beer or whatever. You can get tickets for like $10, and parking is only $10 here, which is crazy because everything in Southern California is absurdly expensive. But parking at baseball games isn't. So I go to quite a few Angels games, and I actually have the same exact thought as you. I like Mike Trout because he's from Jersey, and we always would like to think that he's going to go to the Phillies. He's never going to, but I need to have that thought in my head. But I don't really have any feelings towards or against the Angels, but I have found myself checking into scores, literally just to talk with friends about it. And I don't feel bad about the fandom in the same way that you said with the Thunder. Like I don't root for them. I don't root against them. If they lose, it definitely doesn't upset my day or me being at a game. Yeah, it's weird how like when you're away from your home city, it's weird how you develop other kind of second teams or other likings for them.
Yeah, and I think it also goes with like these two teams like have like you mentioned the Angels and whatnot, but I think it goes along with having likable players on there, if that makes sense. Kind of like it's like you kind of have like the Trout to like as well, and even Albert Pujols, who's always been a fun guy to follow and stuff. And while the Thunder, I mean, last year they had Paul George and stuff, and then this year they get Steven Adams. So like I think that helps a lot with it as well. So like I don't know, like obviously with them being decent teams at least for the most part, it helps as well. I'm saying like if it was maybe a lower level team with not a likable team, it might go a different way. And again, with the fans not having anything to do with it either, like being a cool fan base as well. You can show up to those games and not get like too crazy. Like I mean, people will obviously make jokes or whatever, but nothing too extreme.
Yeah, I agree. So I feel like this is a perfect segue then to get into our talk that we were having before about New York fans and just the Philly-New York rivalry, because we just had this Sixers-Knicks game where we had a compromised victory. We were down 20 and we won. We talked a little bit about it already. Suck at Knicks, suck at City of New York. And oddly enough, you told me the last Sixers-Knicks game you were at was the TJ McConnell triple-double game. I think that was the last Sixers-Knicks game that Shane happened to be at. I think Shane was saying that Rob may have been there as well. So pretty much everyone at the ANYPD network was there except for me. I'm pretty upset that I missed out on that game, but what do you remember from that one specifically?
So you mentioned New York, the fan. It's fun because like it's fun when like both fan bases can be cool, and like obviously you see the videos of the fights, which are unfortunate and stuff. But it's fun when like you have two very diehard cities, like clashing like that, and it's cool when you could be in a section where, in the case of if there is a New York fan or something there, you guys can have fun jokes rather than serious things getting out of control. And that's kind of what I remember. I got in a lucky spot where it was all fun and games and stuff, and then with the Sixers pulling it out in the end, it made it that much better. And it's a very fun time to go to big rivalry games like that, just because it adds so much to the atmosphere. It's crazy how different it is than going to just like a, I don't know, Sixers Hawks game, because I guess even Atlanta has a little bit with the Braves, but like I guess the Sixers Bulls game is a better example, just because like there's nothing there. I mean, and Bull, I don't know if they'll travel as well, but I think it also helps with how close New York is, so it brings a ton of fans from their end. So it just adds so much to another great experience in terms of everything.
Yeah, I think the last Knicks Sixers game I was at was during the peak of Linsanity when I was in college, so probably like 2011, I think that was. And all my friends are Knicks fans, and I'm pretty sure the Sixers lost, and I ate a lot of shit that night. But I agree. One of the things I like is just the shit talking the whole time. I like when everyone's engaging. You know, obviously the fights suck, and they do happen from time to time. Mostly at football games or hockey games, I feel like. Sixers games, they never seem to get that contentious. I mean, obviously I don't want to jinx myself, and I don't want to get into a fight when I go to the Sixers-Lakers game later on this year. But if I do, I mean, my seats are really good with my company, so you guys will definitely see that on TV. I'm not that big, so I'm going to try to not get into a fight. But yeah, I agree. I like when fans are impassioned against one another, and Sixers-Knicks games have that special kind of heat behind them. I mean, we need the Knicks to get a little better to have that rivalry, because we have Boston, we have Philadelphia, LA, and New York. And when all of those cities have good basketball teams, the NBA is just so much better, and it's so much more fun. Those kind of rivalry games are awesome, and any chance I ever get to go to them, even if the Knicks are a dog shit team like they are right now, or the Sixers are terrible, which we were for a bit, you know, I have to take whomever's offer it is.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorites still with the New York team was I've gone to a good amount of Phillies Mets games, and even with the Phillies being bad in the most recent years, and I know the Mets fans have kind of taken over the park a little bit in some of those games, but like I don't know, just something about like the Phillies and the Philly city against the New York City, it just adds so much to the it's just so much fun, and especially when both teams are good and it's like a fun full house like that. Like this past summer when I went to the Phillies Mets game, and it was before both teams kind of collapsed there at the end. I mean, Mets were kind of like decent or whatever, and it was like kind of split house almost a little bit, and it was like you just hear fans going at it as the game's going on.
Yeah, there's a ton of that. Actually, one of my earliest memories of professional sports was, so my dad had taken I have two older brothers, so he only took one of them, myself and my sister, to the game with him, and we were all sitting there, and there was this obnoxious ass Mets fan sitting next to us, and this dude had like a giant pretzel with all this mustard all over it. He had this huge handlebar mustache. I remember this guy like crushing this pretzel and getting mustard all over his mustache, being so obnoxious. And like my poor sister, I mean, I was probably like 4, so I mean, she was 11 at the time. My poor sister was sitting next to this guy, and he was being so loud and obnoxious. And I remember it was one of the few times ever that my dad almost got into a fight with the guy, because he was like, come on, I have my little girl here. And the guy was like, oh, I'm a Mets fan. I'm not going to be nice to you because you're a Phillies fan. It just turned into a whole thing. So that's weirdly like one of my earlier memories of Philly sports. Because of that, I just hate Mets fans. I mean, on top of the fact that they're from New York, and I have so many friends that are Mets fans now, just hate them. They've a special place in my heart for just teams that I hate. But yeah, it's weird that you bring up good things about Phillies Mets games, because I just do not think the same thing at all.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, dude, don't apologize for it. It's funny to me that some people have very different experiences than I do. Getting back to the point, it is weird that so many of us were at that one game. The TJ McConnell, our namesake, shout out to TJ. I mean, I hope he's still doing well. One of the things we talked about earlier was that we were going to start tweeting at him all the time, and I have definitely not followed through on that. So maybe that's something that you and I can get back after, Andrew, as well as the listeners. You know, guys, if you want to tweet over the podcast, TJ McConnell, we'll maybe get a little notoriety, maybe get a like or something out of it. Who knows? But definitely get it out there to him.
Sounds good.
But yeah, it's crazy how many people were at that game. And it is crazy that the Sixers came back 20 points to beat the Knicks. I mean, a win's a win. I like how we stayed kind of positive in this episode. The last thing I had to say on that Knicks game was, did you notice how nobody could say Frankie Nicotina's name at all the entire game?
It changed constantly. Like even they wouldn't say it the same way, which is the funniest part. Like they'd say it one way, and then he'd hit another shot, and it'd be said another way. And I did pick up on that as well, though.
Yeah, it was so obvious to me that they didn't just like go through the stat sheet and go, hey, this is a weird name. Like, I know he's been in the league for a couple of years, but how do you say this one? Like, and when all else fails, just call him Frankie Smokes. I mean, that's the guy's name. That's what I would be riding with. Like, he's forever Frankie Smokes to me, and I think Frankie Nicotina is a great player. I think he's exciting to watch, and there was a point in that game when he took over a little bit. I said I wasn't worried, but I lied. I was a little worried when he was getting too comfortable out there. It was bothering me a bit. But I'm glad that they all fell apart, you know. So good for Frankie Smokes, good for the Sixers, you know, good win all around.
I think one quick last thing on this game for me was, I think it showed a lot about Brett Brown as well. I think his ability to go away from original starting lineup and at the end of that third quarter when he sparked the team with that defensive rotation that started that run, and then even at the end of the game when he's like, oh, I mean, I'm not forced to throw Al Horford in at the end of the game, and don't get me wrong, I love Al Horford, but obviously he's struggling at that point in the game, and and I think that's something Brown, as much as a fan I am of Brown, it's something he lacked in previous years. He would never ride with the hot hand, and I thought that was cool to see last night too. Is like he goes, oh, Mike Scott's crushing it out here right now, offensively and defensively. So we stuck with Scott over Horford down the stretch. And I thought that was cool to see as well. I thought that was a good step forward for Brown and himself.
I agree. I did think it was funny too how Mike Scott goes from hitting a gigantic three at the end of the game to pull us up three, and then almost completely ruined it by just like shoving whoever under the basket. I forget who it was, but like right before Embiid drilled that last three, which honestly, I don't even think he should have been taking. But he made that three, and we almost lost it because Mike Scott just pushed someone over, like looking like a toddler who doesn't realize how fast he can run, like underneath the basket. Like I laughed a little bit at that, and then almost got real upset because I thought we were going to lose the game at that point because of the stupid foul. But all was well.
That's exactly what it looked like, though. It looked like he had no control over speed, and he just ran straight into him.
Yeah, like it was just so dumb, and like I think there was even like a screen grab of him just like smacking himself in the forehead a little bit, being like, God, that was stupid. But win's a win, all around good. So we skipped the game in here. Sixers played the Cavs again. We won by 19. So I'm just going to keep this and all Cleveland Cavaliers reviews. Let's see if we even play them again the rest of the year. No.
I think we... No? Okay.
I think we might have them one more time. Yeah, we do. But we'll give the same review on December 7th when they play again. Sixers played a basketball game, and they won. So, Andrew, do you have any more on that?
I think, between the last two Cavs games, I think we hit it on the nose. And, it was a 19-point game at the end, but they controlled that whole game. I think they were up by 25 plus for most of it, honestly. So, not much to really dive into there just because of how good of a game it was.
Yeah, I agree. So we went 2-3 in that little swing right there. We bounced back after the Magic loss a little bit. I mean, they're games we should have won or needed to win. So, I mean, I wish they had won 3 or 4 there instead of just splitting it. But, hey, we're on the upswing right now. They came back from down against the Knicks, who are a terrible team, and good teams beat bad teams. That's how the NBA works. That's how sports works. That's how you get to the playoffs. So stay positive here. We do have a couple bigger games coming up. We have 3 huge games coming up here. So tomorrow we have the Spurs. The Spurs have been a weird team this year. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Pop is clearly on his way out. I mean, I think he's. Do you think this is his last year, or do you think he has a couple more in him?
Should it be his last year? I think he should probably end it soon, but I think just being Pop and loving the game so much, I think he's going to try to push through a couple more years.
Yeah, I think he is too. I don't know.
Which it's very sad to see.
Yeah, I mean the Spurs they've probably been the biggest dynasty of our lifetime. I mean, just they've been in the playoffs literally every year since the mid '90s. Like, it's unbelievable. I'm sure there's a year or two they missed in there, so don't quote me on that stat. But they're just a staple in the NBA. It's weird seeing them decline. I don't know how I feel about it. But yeah, they're a confusing team right now. But we shouldn't underestimate them by any means. We're at home. We need to get that win, and hopefully we get out there and just stick along with this line of winning. Maybe Ben Simmons chucks up a couple threes. Who knows? We'll make all of our Friday nights a little better. What are your concerns for this game, Andrew?
I think some concerns would be in terms of in the sense of, I don't want to say being overconfident, but just kind of like feeling themselves a little bit after that. I mean, I know it wasn't against a good team, but the fact that they still came back after trailing by 17 or 18 in that such late in the third quarter there, and having the ability to come back, I think that I just that's the sense over the last few years that you get with this team is like, and we mentioned on here before, they never really play a complete game, and I almost feel like that kind of scares me a little bit just because they're riding high still, and I don't want to say they're going to overlook them, but with we'll get into that game next, but with obviously the return to Jimmy Butler the next day, I think that I'm almost afraid they're going to be focusing on that a little more. And while the Spurs come in on a 7-game losing streak, and I don't know. And I think DeRozan's always been a Sixer killer, so it's got a weird feeling to me, honestly.
I agree. I think the Knicks game had a weird letdown kind of feeling to it for this exact reason that they were just going to overlook the game. So I definitely am a little concerned about that, getting too hyped up for the game on Saturday. I hope they rest the team and do this load management thing properly here, because we do have 2 games, 2 days. So I hope they manage it in a way that allows them to win and not tire Joel Embiid out to the point where he has to take Saturday off or something. Because let's roll into Saturday real quick and touch in on Jimmy Butler return to Philadelphia. This is a game I've had circled on my calendar all year. I can't wait to see how J-Butt gets received back in the Wells Fargo Arena. And I would love to see, the Sixers go out and just throw up 120 spot on them and just destroy the Heat and make Jimmy regret leaving the city. But I don't know if that's going to happen. It's a concern for me. I'm more worried than ever about this Miami Heat team.
Yeah, they'd probably be one of my surprise teams of the year so far. I'm shocked how well they've played this year. I mean, I know Jimmy Butler's a great player, but with the rest of the team, they're kind of a little young and stuff. And I'm like, they're 10-3 and playing some of the best basketball in the league right now. And like you said, Jimmy Butler's, both teams, the Sixers will have a lot of emotion. Butler's going to have a lot of emotion. And actually, I'm interested to get your take. Obviously you're not going, but if you were going to the game, would you just be neutral? Would you boo him? Or like, how would you or treat Jimmy Butler when he gets announced?
I think I might boo him through tears. I think that's the only way to do it. Like, I think I've made a rule for myself 3 or 4 times on this podcast, since I started hopping on in the summer. And that was just to stop talking about Jimmy Butler because he's gone and he's never coming back. Gone through the 5 stages of grief or whatever with it, but I would love to have Jimmy Butler back here. I really do like him as a player. He's a terrible guy and just so weird, but I think he's a great player. He fit into our system well. He didn't cause all the locker room strife that he did in other places, and I'm not surprised that he's doing what he's doing down in Miami. With that said, I think he's going to get destroyed with boos when he comes into the Wells Fargo Arena, because most people are just not happy with the way that he left the city.
And that's one of the concerns for me in this game, actually, is because not only are you coming off a back-to-back game, and we'll see how the Spurs game goes if we're going to have to be playing everybody a ton of minutes or whatnot, but like, we know basically, we know the Philly fan, like, we're going to give him a pretty rude welcoming when he comes back, and probably boo him basically the entire game. And he seems like one of those players that is going to feed off that so much, and I'm afraid he's going to have a huge day.
I think he might have a huge day, but you're forgetting one thing. He can't wear those ninja headbands anymore, so I think we've taken his power away in the Wells Fargo Arena. So I think he'll come out, and I do think he's going to play well. But I mean, the Sixers need to win this one. They hit the nail on the head here. The Heat, I'm looking through this roster right now, and they're not good. Like, I mean, they've Deion Waiters, Justice Winslow, Jimmy Butler, Dragic, Haslam, yeah, Tyler Hero. I think is going to be good one day, but like has been just okay at this point. Like, yeah, I don't get why this roster is so good, but they are. They're definitely the surprise team in the East thus far, and I mean, I think historically we always play the Heat tough. I don't care if we're bad and they're good, or we're good, they're bad, or both good, which is the case right now. I mean, so I'm excited for this game. I will be in front of the couch. I might have to switch to the hard liquor instead of just drinking a couple casual beers to deal with the grief of like losing Jimmy Butler and seeing him, with another team right now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a great game, and hopefully the back-to-back doesn't hurt us, because we need to learn how to get over the back-to-back hump. And Joel Embiid has been playing a lot lately, but hopefully he's well rested and will be able to play for this game.
And I mean, it's him saying it, not the team, so I don't know if we can take it 100% for Will. But Embiid did say he's going to play both games, so we'll see.
Okay, good. I hope he does. It won't be the same if he doesn't play, but yeah, let's just stick that he's going to play. And then we have the Raptors after that on Monday in Toronto. They're another surprise team. I don't want to talk too much about this one because we're getting a little further ahead now, and we'll definitely touch on that next week when Andrew's back on here. But yeah, the Raptors are another surprise team too. They're really, really good right now. The East is shaping up a little bit. I don't know if they're all just kind of collectively bad and everyone is then, just kind of looking better than we thought, or the East is a little bit better than we thought. I don't know. Yeah, it's not an easy win by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, we got three tough games coming up. I'm excited for all of them. I think we definitely need to take 2 of 3 here.
Yeah, I agree. I think, especially, I mean, obviously we can't overlook them, we said they're still a decent team or whatever. But with the Spurs coming in on a 7-game losing streak, I think that one's almost like a must take. And then hopefully you can get the big win against the Heat at home. And with that, I mean, like you said, the East is going to start shaping up. And right now, I mean, I know we're only 14 games in, but right now you're 2 games behind them. So these head-to-head games is where you want to make up some ground. And then Toronto, that's one I want to really see us win, not only because obviously what happened last year in the 7-game series, but we've been struggling on the road still, which I think is still weird and kind of a concern. So I want to see us take a big game on the road soon.
Yeah, I agree. It is a problem, and I don't know how you get over that problem, honestly. Home field advantage or home court advantage in the NBA is so gigantic. So if you're a team that can win on the road, it just puts you on that next level, and you can't get to that next level without winning on the road. I mean, it's very simple to me. So it's a great test. Hopefully they start shaping up a little bit. I mean, I can't say I'm completely happy with how the team looks right now, but I'm not overly concerned. I'm not upset. I mean, last time we were talking, I was in pretty rough shape talking about the team, so it bounced back from that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We got an exciting couple games coming up. All right, so before I let you go, I got a couple things here I do want to touch on. So let's talk about we got Hoodie Melo signing in Portland, and not only signing in Portland, he is starting in Portland. Did you get to catch any of his comeback?
I did see some of it, not as much as I would have liked, if I'm being honest, but I did catch some of it, and I watched the highlights of it because I've always been somewhat, not a diehard Melo fan, but always respected his game for the most part.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I don't see he's going to improve major from what he did, but it's kind of what I expected a little bit. A lot of time away from the game, and he knew he was going to have some rust on him. And I mean, it's a shame to me to see how much he declined pretty fast, and it doesn't seem like he knows how to get over it and I don't know, fix whatever the issue is. But I think it's the way he's going to be, especially with I think they're dealing with some injuries out there. So it's funny because when they signed him, the first thing I thought of was I guess it was in our preseason podcast when I said Iguodala would be the perfect fit for Portland, and it just made me think of that. I was like, how do you not go after Iguodala over Carmelo at this point in his career?
Yeah, I agree. The Trailblazers stink right now, and I mean, I watch. I say this every week. I gotta stop saying that. I watch every Portland Trailblazers game, but obviously I do. So yeah, they stink right now. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're not that crazily different of a team, but they do. So I think they're looking to shake things up. I'm looking through his stats. I mean, he dropped 18 tonight, went 3 of 5 from deep, which is good. He only went -1 on the court, which is okay. I mean, it's just the kind of player he's always going to be. But my thoughts on him, and this has kind of always been my thought for the last couple of years, but it was confirmed by that first game when he came out and started. He is just playing a different style of basketball, and his game just hasn't adapted to the new NBA. Because in the new NBA, yeah, everyone shoots a lot of threes, but everyone plays great defense now. And if you can't play defense and you're a defensive liability out there on the court, it's really hard to find you minutes in crunch time. And if you lose your shot, there is no reason to have you out there at all. And it makes it very easy for teams to just not like Carmelo Anthony and not want him on their team.
And I think that's a good point in not adjusting to and you say he's not adjusting to the game because, I mean, I'm not comparing their skill level at all, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying in terms of the way they make adjustments and the difference of being where this guy I'm going to mention is at compared to him is one of the biggest things Harden used to be ripped on was his lack of defense. But as the game started to change, Harden's actually, I'm not saying he's a top defender, but he's gotten a lot better at his defense, and he clearly showed he was willing to make that adjustment. And that's just the difference between someone being that good or compared to the drop off Carmelo had.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be one of the reasons that, I mean, he was a stud. He was the last star in New York, and his career just fell off. I mean, he went to Oklahoma City, he went to Houston. He was in, he just has not stuck anywhere outside of New York. I mean, in Denver, he was great as well, obviously, but it's a shame that he fell off, and he had a pretty good career. But I mean, he talked himself just right out of, any kind of real greatness talks and the way that he's ended his career here. I mean, I hope he can shape up a little bit. I'm a Carmelo guy myself. I definitely have always liked him a bit. But yeah, I think he's just playing a different style game. So hopefully in Portland they can teach him how to play a little defense, and he gets his swag back a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, he's a guy I miss back in the day. But I guess that's what happens is we get older, these players get older as well. And
yeah. Sadly, that is true. But so perfect segue into the last thing that I want to talk about here. It has officially been 15 years since the Malice in the Palace happened. Do you remember seeing the Malice in the Palace live or any of the highlights or whatever the next day if you didn't catch it live?
Yeah, I mean, I remember even the next day. I'm not going to say I remember too much of it just because, I mean, at the time I was only 6 or 7. So, it was, I mean, I know about it now just because I watch a lot of it now and, obviously it's a huge deal and stuff, but back when it happened, honestly, I'm going to be honest, I can't remember too much of it, when it first happened.
Okay, so this is one of the few cooler, I mean, I wasn't as into basketball then as I am now, obviously. I think I was, I don't have to think, I was 13 years old. I remember it happened it was a Friday night, I believe. I was home. I had been, watching some TV. I flipped over the basketball game and, was watching, I think it was on ESPN, or maybe TNT. I forget at the time. Regardless, it doesn't matter. I fall asleep a little bit, and I woke up in the fourth quarter of that game, and I saw literally 5 minutes before the brawl happened, and then I saw the brawl happen, and I thought I was dreaming. It was so crazy. Because Ron Artest was laying down on the freaking announcer's table, and then someone threw a cup of water at him, and he jumped into the stand. It was the wildest thing no one talks about in sports to me. to this day still. And I think it's because it's such a black mark on the NBA and they were so embarrassed by it. But to me, the fact that players were fighting fans in a complete riot in the city of Detroit, and it's something that we not only have on video, but that we can sit here and laugh about now. It's so ridiculous. Like, can you imagine what would happen in today's world? Like, if that happened right now, it'd be absurd. It might be the end of the NBA. Like,
what? That's just crazy how like the times have changed as well. It's because like 15 years ago, the NBA was able to do such a good job at covering that up and not like obviously not sweeping it under the carpet, but they were able to do a pretty good job of passing over it right pretty fast. But if that like you said, if it happened today, you're never going to see the end of that. You're never going to hear the end of it. And I can't even imagine what type of punishments the players would get and stuff. Like it would almost end a good amount of their season probably.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Artest came back to play. So actually, let me correct that. Ron Artest changed his name to Meta World Peace, and then he came back and continued on with his career, and no one really talks about it anymore. Like, it's so crazy to me that all it took was a name change, and then people just kind of forgave him and let him keep playing, and that was that. And now we talk about it a little bit, and we laugh a little, and that's it. I mean, I'm going to imagine, too, that the fans got a pretty hefty settlement from the NBA or from Ron Artest or whomever it was, and they just have to keep their mouth shut at this point. But yeah, it was one of the craziest things in sports.
I can't even imagine being like one of those fans and like looking back on it now and like just seeing the video. Like if you're yourself and like looking at that video, like you gotta be asking yourself, what are you thinking? Like what were you thinking back then?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, they're probably all hammered because I think the Pistons. Actually, the Pistons weren't bad back then, but the Pacers definitely were not that great. I have to check on that though. But regardless, I think there was definitely just some people there who were a little upset. I mean, Detroit was kind of falling apart at that point as well. So yeah, like can you imagine just your Friday night or your Saturday night or whatever? You go to the game and boom, before you know it, Ron Artest is punching you in the face in the crowd. Like, what just an awful start or just an awful turn to the night. That's just, I can't even imagine it. Like.
Yeah, I mean, you get punched by him. I mean, you're going to be feeling that for the next week at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was worth the paycheck they got. And definitely a cool story to tell in the bar now. But, they definitely paid for that one. And with that, I think we've been going on for a bit here, so I think it's about time to close out the show. Do you have anything else for the listeners that you'd like to bring up, Andrew, as we go into this big weekend of Sixers basketball?
No, I think this is the last thing would just be this is a good test. I'd really take note on the way we perform on Saturday and Monday, because two top teams that I think you can really start to feel on what this team's going to be like. And I guess hopefully Josh Richardson's back so you can really see what this team can do.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it. And with that, this has been TJOO's One of Us podcast. I'm going to try to get Shane on for a special weekend edition here so we can get you two this week. If not, then I will have Shane on early next week, and we will have Andrew on again later in the week as well. So with that, I will leave you all here. This has been TJOO's One of Us, and this has been Scott, and I had Andrew on here as well. Everyone have a good night.
Revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with a win. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and such over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son, still have me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.